Hello, and welcome to the Focusing Way podcast, available on iTunes and Stitcher. I'm your host, David Battistella. Are you the universe? Here's a quote from Gene Gendlin that allows us a tiny peek into his philosophy and an understanding of the depth and power of the focusing process. It's also a view into how the universe might lie right within us. In this episode, I thought I would take a simple paragraph from Gene Gendlin's original book on focusing and break it down into a few parts to help explain what we're talking about when in focusing we talk about the body. First off, here's the quote, and then we'll break it down. Here's Gendlin from his book, Focusing. When I use the word body, I mean more than the physical machine. Not only do you physically live in the circumstances around you, but also those you only think of in your mind. Your physically felt body is, in fact, a part of a gigantic system of here and other places, now and other times, you and other people. In fact, the whole universe. This sense of being bodily alive in a vast system is the body, and it is felt from inside. Okay, so here goes. Gene starts this paragraph by letting us in on how he perceives the word body, both as it relates to the organism and focusing as a whole. Right off the bat, he's expanding the idea of what most people think the body is. Some might divide the organism into parts, the body being one of them. But here, Gene states, quote, "When I use the word body, I mean more than the physical machine," unquote. It's an important distinction and a perspective-shifting moment. I'll share a personal story of an experience I had with a cardiologist once. I had been reading a lot and following HeartMath, a research institute in California dedicated to discovering heart intelligence. The initial thought was to connect the fact that the heart and brain develop at about the same pace in the fetus, and the heart has the second highest number of electrical impulse points compared to the brain. Overall, the idea is that the heart has its own intelligence that informs the body or our own thoughts, emotions, and sentiments. I was so excited to share this idea with a cardiologist I'd met at a dinner party, but I was left a bit shocked at the response. "Bah," he said, "it's just a muscle. It's a pump. That's it. There's nothing else." I gasped and kept quiet. But it was informative because we humans can use our analysis skills and rational thought process to form any kind of reality. Now, I happen to believe that the heart is a lot more than just a pump or a muscle, especially since I've had many focusing experiences which generate directly from the heart space and the feelings, thoughts, images, and sensations that come from that part of the body. So this paragraph reminded me of that experience. Here, Gene is saying, listen here, when I say body, I mean a lot more than a machine. He's opening us up to the whole, to more, to possibility. Next, he adds, quote, "Not only do you physically live in the circumstances around you, but also those you only think of in your mind," unquote. Here I feel Gene is connecting things to the whole. He's bringing the body and our thoughts into one experience. He's also beginning to lay out a foundation, one that reminds us that we are connected to all things. Everything from religion to quantum physics has been expounding on this idea in man's never-ending search for identity. Here, Jean reminds us that we live in the outside world and our inside world simultaneously, while reminding us that circumstances can also be a creation within our own thoughts or thought patterns. Next sentence. Your physically felt body is in fact part of a gigantic system of here and other places, now and other times, you and other people. Wow. That really expresses the wholeness of an individual and the way in which we, as individuals, are part of what he describes as a gigantic system, one that spans time and space, quote, here and other places, now and other times. What a beautiful sentiment to lay down about the body, that the body and we are the sum of so many things, that we carry the wholeness of time, place, and space inside ourselves. Jean might really be telling us about the possibility of the human life force, and also he shares its capacity. We are gigantic, which might not even be a word that expresses what we are largely enough. The idea that we are this container that is huge and ever expanding, which leads us directly to, quote, in fact, the whole universe. This sense of being bodily alive in a vast system is the body, and it is felt from the inside. Here we can connect the whole universe to that being. But also, Jean is expressing each individual as being, quote, bodily alive within a vast system. But at the same time, he understands the individual and the personal nature of this feeling because the experience is felt from the inside. This is, of course, just a small taste of what Jean has shared about his philosophy. And in one paragraph, he is expressing what the focusing experience can lead us to understand about our inner connections, our inner workings, and the whole universe. We have the capacity to experience all of this from within the body, that carbon unit that we may sometimes believe is just meat and bones and blood, muscle, and nerve. Something tells me that you are a lot more. He might even be giving us a glimpse. He might even be giving us a glimpse into the thought that the thing that ties it all together is us. Or that the capacity for us to express and live through our body in this place from this deep focusing well. Is this the very fabric of the thing we like to refer to as the human experience? In this one paragraph, Jean implies so much about where, who, and what we are, but it also allows us to approach our own focusing work from the realm of great personal capacity and limitless possibility. 5 sentences, when strung together in this way, describes a philosophy and opens a doorway into the me. You've been listening to the Focusing Way podcast, available on iTunes and Stitcher. I'm your host, David Battistella. Please take a moment to visit our website at thefocusingway.com.